check! It's English O'Clock! Ang pag-aaral ng English upang madaling matutunan, bakit hindi natin simplihan? Halika! Manood at makinig sa English Teacher ni Juan!
Kung bago ka pa lang sa channel na to, huwag kang matakot! I made learning English easy for you! Please like, comment, and subscribe. At pakishare mo na rin sa iba para marami pang mga Juan na gaya mo ang matuto. Hi there everyone! Ready ka na ba para sa second lesson natin ngayong first quarter? Tara! Listen carefully as we talk about textual aids. The target most essential learning competency for this video is determine the effect of textual aids like advanced organizers, titles, nonlinear illustrations, and others on the understanding of a text. Isa ka rin ba sa nahihirapan mag-comprehend kapag puro text or words lang ang nakikita at nababasa mo? Here comes the importance of textual aids to help you in understanding a text. What is textual aid? Textual aids refer to non-textual elements that help readers understand the content of the text. They also refer to elements that stand out from the main text, such as titles and subtitles, bold, italicized, and underlined texts. Non-textual elements include illustrations, maps, tables, graphs, and charts. Ano nga ba ang function o gamit ng mga textual aids na ito? First is to direct the reader's attention to important ideas in the text. And second, to provide more information as a supplement to what is already written. Our discussion on textual aids will focus on these three: advanced organizers, titles, and nonlinear illustrations. Let's talk about advanced organizers. Teachers use advanced organizers to introduce a lesson and guide learners on how to think about it. Kagaya ng isang movie trailer, ang advanced organizer ay nagbibigay ng preview sa mga readers kung ano ang mababasa nila at nakapagbibigay ng interes upang basahin ng buo ang reading text. Here are some examples of advanced organizers. Expository advanced organizers give students a broad idea of the lesson's purpose before the lesson begins. For example, a teacher may tell students what the lesson's goals are. We've talked about what habitats are and why some animals prefer to live in different places than other animals do. Our goal today is to learn about the 4 layers of a tropical rainforest and which animals live in each of those different layers. Teachers often also write the goals on the board. Next is narrative advanced organizers. On the other hand, involved storytelling. At the beginning of the class, the teacher might tell an interesting story that relates to important concepts in the lesson. I'm going to tell you a story about a little tree frog who climbed from the forest floor up to the very top of the tallest tree in the rainforest. Skimming is another type of advanced organizer. A teacher may ask students to skim over a reading, focusing on highlighted information such as captions or chapter headings. That makes them familiar with the material before they read it more thoroughly. Younger students might take a picture walk through the reading. A picture walk is a shared activity between a child and an adult that occurs prior to reading the book, where you flip through the pages one by one as a way to preview the story. It allows the child to become more familiar with the book before actively reading the text. Another form of advanced organizer is graphic organizer. They structure information visually or in pictures. They're usually one-page forms with lots of blank areas, so they are easy for students to skim before the lesson. For example, A teacher might give students a simple drawing of a tree with lines marking each of the 4 layers of the rainforest. As the lesson goes on, the students can fill in the graphic organizer with the names of the different layers and of the animals that live in them. Graphic organizers take on a plethora of avenues and looks. Here are some other examples of commonly used graphic organizers but not necessarily used in advance. Persuasion map. The persuasion map is an interactive graphic organizer that helps students familiarize themselves with the process of persuasive writing. It assists them with outlining and preparing arguments for their essays, speeches, debates, and others. Sequence chart. A sequence graphic organizer is a tool that helps visualize the order of steps of a process or a timeline of events. It can also be used for note-taking, lesson planning, and essay writing. Story map. A story map can be used to identify the different elements such as characters, character plots, themes, techniques, and others in a book students are reading. It's a useful tool that teachers can integrate into the lesson to improve students' comprehension. Biography graphic organizer. This is a tool that assists with understanding a character from a novel, autobiography, or movie, or a historical figure more in-depth. It brings attention to various important factors about a person's life. Learning map. Learning maps visually depict the key takeaways, skills, ideas, knowledge students should get from a lesson. It usually provides a high-level view of the lesson or unit or course that is to be studied and the connection between its different components. Students can also use learning maps in the classroom for note-taking. Vocabulary graphic organizer. This tool can be used to assess the vocabulary knowledge of students. You can create graphic organizers including various elements to help students learn new words and learn antonyms and synonyms. Problem-solving organizer. Problem-solving graphic organizers can be used to improve the problem-solving skills of the students. It helps students identify and evaluate solutions to problems. Timeline graphic organizer. Timeline diagrams are a type of graphic organizer that shows a sequence of events in chronological order. They come in handy when studying history, as you can use it to display major historical events that occurred during a period of time, along with important details such as dates and locations in which they took place. In addition, timeline charts can also be used to show the progress of something, for example, growth of a business or changes. T-chart. T-charts allow students to study 2 facets of a topic. For example, disadvantages and advantages, pros and cons, differences and similarities, and others. Hierarchy chart. Hierarchy charts visualize the elements of a system, organization, or concept from its highest position to the lowest. Students can use this tool to understand the superordinate and subordinate categories of a topic and the relationship between them. Star diagram. Star diagrams are used to organize the characteristics of a chosen topic. It can also be used to brainstorm around new topics. Cluster diagram. Cluster diagrams can be used to facilitate a brainstorming session or structure idea generation and even to help with exploring new topics. Lotus diagram. Lotus diagram is an analytical tool that can be used to break down broader and more complex topics into smaller components for easy understanding. It can be used for brainstorming and studying new topics. Cause and Effect Graphic Organizer. This type of graphic organizer shows the causes and effects of an event. The cause is the reason why something has happened, and effect is the result of what has happened. Visualization helps clearly understand the different cause and effect relationships. Mind map. A mind map is a tool that helps capture the free flow of thought and is widely used for brainstorming around topics. Additionally, it can also be used to organize and group information about a topic. Double bubble map. The double bubble map is one of the popular thinking maps. It is much like a Venn diagram and is used to identify similar and different qualities between two things. And lastly, Venn diagram. Another graphic organizer that helps you visually represent a comparison of differences and similarities between two subjects is the Venn diagram. What makes it different from the double bubble map is that it can include more than two topics and one common area. These are just some of the sample graphic organizers that I have on the list. Ikaw, baka may iba ka pang alam na graphic organizers na hindi nakasama sa mga nabanggit. Now, balik tayo sa discussion on advanced organizers. KWL chart is another popular form of advanced organizer. Before a lesson begins, students may be asked to divide a page into 3 columns. Then, they use the first column to write what they think they know about the topic. That's where the K comes from in the acronym. In the second column, they add what they want, that stands for W, to know about the topic. And after the lesson, they write what they've learned, which stands for L, in the third column. Creating a KWL chart makes students think about what they already know. That makes them feel more comfortable with the new material they are learning. As a result, their interest and focus may increase. And also, analogies. Analogies are comparisons of two things that are alike in some way. They can also be used as advanced organizers. Research has shown that it helps students to realize that a new topic relates to something familiar. For example, in one study, 2 groups of students were each given an article about how radar works. The first group's article started with a short analogy comparing radar to a ball bouncing off a wall. The second group's article didn't have an analogy. When tested on how well they'd understood, the group that read the article with the analogy did better. They used what they already knew about how a ball bounces to understand how radar works. Now that we're done discussing about advanced organizers, we will now proceed sa isa pang textual aid, the title. Yes, you heard it right. Pamagat. Ang title o pamagat is another form of textual aid. May pagkakaiba ba kung ang text na babasahin mo ay may title o wala? Well, providing titles for passages improves the comprehension and memorability of text. Titles have generally been thought to facilitate comprehension at later stages of processing. Consistent with prior research, passages presented with titles were found to be better recalled than those without titles. Aside from this, kung minsan ay ginagawa ding bold, colored, or italics ang mga text or titles to draw the reader's attention to important information. Keywords to notice are in bold or in color, at italics naman sa mga picture captions, book titles, or any element that need to stand out. The last textual aid that I will discuss is the nonlinear illustrations. There are many definitions of the term nonlinear illustration. Most people consider text with visuals or graphs along with it as examples for nonlinear texts. Some examples include flowcharts, charts, graphs, and graphic organizers such as knowledge maps and story maps. Let's start with table. Table is an arrangement of information in rows and columns containing cells that make comparing and contrasting information easier. Here is a sample table and its corresponding parts. We have the table number, title, captions or the column headings, stubs or row headings, footnote, and source. Let's proceed to graph. Graph is used when a simple table cannot adequately demonstrate important relationships of and within data. Here are some classifications of graph. Bar graph uses either vertical or horizontal bars to show the data it represents. The height of the bar indicates the value it represents. The longer the bar, the higher the value it represents. The shorter the bar, the lower the value it represents. Meanwhile, here are the parts of a bar graph. Title. The title tells us what the graph is about. Labels. The labels tell us what kinds of facts are listed. Bars. The bars show the facts. In addition, the bars can be either horizontal or vertical. We also have line graph. Line graph is used to show how numerical data have changed over time, and it is best used to show trends. Here is a sample of line graph and its parts. Title tells what is being represented. X-axis or the horizontal axis shows the names of the things being compared. Y-axis or the vertical axis has numbers for whatever is being named. Next we have pie graph or pie chart. Shows how a whole is divided into parts. Here are the parts of a pie graph. Title tells us what the pie graph represents. Legend tells what each slice of the pie represents. Data, the most important part of a pie graph. A pie graph represents 100% of the data. Each slice is a percentage of the whole. And source tells where the data was gathered for the chart. Lastly is the pictograph, also known as a pictogram. It is the pictorial representation of data using images, icons, or symbols. We can represent the frequency of data while using symbols or images that are relevant using a pictograph. Pictographs are one of the simplest ways of representing data. Here are the corresponding parts of the sample pictograph. Title tells us what the pictograph is about. Pictures tell us the given number of objects. Labels, what kind of data is shown. Key tells us the number each picture is equal to. Now, we're done discussing these textual aids, advanced organizers, titles, and nonlinear illustrations. In addition, illustrations or pictures are also considered textual aids. These are visual representation of a subject. They facilitate better retention of the information presented. Aside from this, map is also a textual aid. Map is a visual representation of selected characteristics of a place, usually drawn on a flat surface. The two types of maps are physical map, which includes labels for features such as mountain ranges and bodies of water. And the other one is political map, which usually includes labels for features such as cities and major towns, units such as states or provinces, and bodies of water. That's all for today's episode, mga Juan. Sana ay marami kayong natutunan tungkol sa textual aids. Hanggang sa susunod nating talakayan, paalam!
So did you learn something today? Sure ako na hindi ka na nosebleed. If you want more of this video tutorial and learn English in a light speed, huwag kalimutang mag-subscribe at i-turn on ang notification button para updated ka sa mga bagong lessons. Ako ang teacher mo, ang English teacher ni Juan. Class dismissed! See ya! So did you learn something today? Sure ako na hindi ka na nosebleed. If you want more of this video tutorial and learn English in a light speed, huwag kalimutang mag-subscribe at i-turn on ang notification button para updated ka sa mga bagong lessons. Ako ang teacher mo, ang English teacher ni Juan. Class dismissed! See ya!